Friday, December 23. From The Desire of Ages, page 580, we read, "In the day of final judgment, every lost soul will understand the nature of his rejection of truth. The cross will be presented, and its real bearing will be seen by every mind that has been blinded by transgression. Before the vision of Calvary with its mysterious victim, sinners will stand condemned. Every lying excuse will be swept away. Human apostasy will appear in its heinous character. Men will see what their choice has been. Every question of truth and error in the long-standing controversy will then have been made plain. In the judgment of the universe, God will stand clear of blame for the existence or continuance of evil. It will be demonstrated that the divine decrees are not accessory to sin. There was no defect in God's government, no cause for disaffection. When the thoughts of all hearts shall be revealed, both the loyal and the rebellious will unite in declaring, 'Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. Who shall not fear thee, O Lord, and glorify thy name? For thy judgments are made manifest.' Revelation 15, verses 3 and 4. End of quote. And that brings us to our 3 discussion questions for this week. 1. If you cling to self, refusing to yield your will to God, you are choosing death. To sin, wherever found, God is a consuming fire. If you choose sin and refuse to separate from it, the presence of God, which consumes sin, must consume you." That's a quote from Thoughts from the Mount of Blessing, page 62. How does this quote help us understand the nature of the executive judgment? 2. Dwell on the idea presented at the end of Tuesday's study that not one of the lost will face final judgment until after the redeemed have been part of the judging process. Again, what does this teach us about the openness and transparency of God? For a universe in which love reigns, why is this transparency so important? And 3. How will the participation of the saints in the millennial judgment comfort them in regard to their loved ones who will be lost? And now for Inside Story, our mission story with Sibylla. Thank you, Sibylla.
2 Dreams in Angola by Andrew McChesney. Every time he went to church, little William Frederico João Lumbo seemed to hear the preacher say the same phrase. The big preacher stood behind the pulpit in the church in Angola. He raised a hand into the air and thundered, "Those who do not live to serve God are not fit to live." The preacher's words made a big impression on his young mind. But the world outside the church also made a big impression, and he decided that he would rather dance than go to church. At age 14, he formed a dance group and performed at parties and school events in Angola's capital, Luanda. Even though William enjoyed dancing, something didn't seem right. He felt an emptiness inside, and he remembered the words of the preacher, "Those who do not live to serve God are not fit to live." The joy from dancing faded, and William began to smoke and drink. But he felt increasingly empty. One day he prayed desperately, "I'm not living to serve you, and I am not fit to live. Help!" Shortly after the prayer, a friend gave William a flash drive with a sermon on it. William wanted the flash drive because on it his friend also had saved a video of him dancing. The sermon touched William's heart. He fell to his knees and asked for forgiveness. He decided to go to church. All churches were closed in Angola because of COVID-19, and William ended up in an Adventist house church. A big surprise awaited William. The leader of the house church, Felipe, had had 2 dreams about William over the past 2 nights. In the first dream, Felipe was standing beside a big tree, and in his hand he held a small branch. He needed to somehow connect the branch to the tree so it could grow again. In the second dream, Felipe was standing beside a big river. A small river flowed beside the big river, and Felipe somehow needed to connect the small river to the big river. "You are the small branch that needs to be connected to the big tree," Felipe told William. "The big tree is Jesus. who is the tree of life. You are the small river, and the big river is Jesus. You need to be connected to Jesus, who is the river of life. William could scarcely believe his ears. Jesus wants me to be connected to him, he asked. As William worshipped at the house church, peace and joy began to fill the emptiness in his heart. He decided to be connected only to Jesus. Today, William couldn't be happier. He lives only to serve God.
This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. And you can listen and watch at the same time on YouTube. Remember, God is always faithful.